Alright, hello and welcome to my channel, y'all. First thing I gotta say is God bless America and our constitutional rights. Today we're going to be doing a Second Amendment video, so we're going to get straight into it.
A delusional New York judge had the audacity to tell an attorney during trial, when he brought up the Second Amendment during his opening statement, mind you, do not bring the Second Amendment into this courtroom. It doesn't exist here. So you can't argue Second Amendment. This is New York.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Ma'am, it's New York.
Which is totally unconstitutional. These judges I don't know who these judges think they are, but they have to abide by the Constitution.
A state in America with a constitution, not Sparta, where you can just Leonidas front kick amendments you don't like out of the Constitution.
This is Sparta!
But this is indeed what a judge in the United States of America said to the attorney of a man who was on trial for building guns in his own home under the Constitution. That man's name is Dexter Taylor.
Yeah, okay. So some time ago, I became interested in gunsmithing. Ever since I was a kid, I really, like most kind of red-blooded American kids, I was interested in guns and tanks and fighter planes, and because it was cool, And so, but maybe 3-4 years ago, maybe I became really interested in gunsmithing, and I thought this would be a really cool thing to do, really traditional and really kind of and possibly even leading to a second career. I've been a software developer forever, but I also make stuff, and so anyway. Fast forward a bit, I started actually building weapons. I started building firearms. So I learned from guys like Marine Gun Builder, right, who builds pistols, 80% pistols. It's like I found out that you can actually legally buy a receiver, and you can machine that receiver to completion, and you buy your parts and you put together, you've got a pistol or a rifle. And once I saw that, I was hooked. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. this is the most cool thing you could possibly do in your machine shop, because I have a machine shop in my basement. And so I make furniture and I make different stuff, and that's a whole other story. But anyway, I started doing that, and there was no subterfuge. It's like I bought them on my credit cards under my name because they were my weapons that I built. And at a certain point, the state of New York took an interest, and in April of 2022, a joint SWAT ATF task force raided my house, like broke down my door and everything. And it was I remember, I think April 6th, was it? Yeah. And I'd gone to bed listening to an audiobook, woke up and I heard voices that were not the audiobook, and then I heard a bang, and then I heard where my police, George Foreman, that kind of sound, and I saw weapon lights flickering under the door of my bedroom. So first thing I did was I said, hello. I thought they had the wrong place, because it never occurred to me that someone quietly sitting at home manufacturing rifles.
This is why you don't live in New York. The people in New York need to stand up to these corrupt judges.
Or pistols or whatever would be a problem that New York State was like, we've got to go and get this. It just never occurred to me that anyone would come up in my house like that. Like, I have a clean criminal record.
Unfortunately, the jury in Taylor's case was just as delulu as the judge, because they found him guilty, and now he's in jail on Rikers Island.
Rikers Island, New York's massive jail complex, just a few miles from Midtown Manhattan, and scene of a humanitarian crisis.
What are some words you'd use to describe Rikers Island?
Hell. Plain and simple.
How would you describe the conditions at Rikers Island?
The conditions at Rikers Island have been inhumane.
Waiting to be sentenced
where they have no cash bail. There's all kinds of people literally robbing, attacking the cops, all kinds of just crazy shit, and then they immediately get let out the next day, and then this crazy judge is gonna go and prosecute a law-abiding citizen with no criminal record and put him in Rikers Island, one of the worst places in America. This is horrible.
In the court of the same judge who, during the trial, told Taylor's attorney that the Second Amendment doesn't exist here. That judge is Abina Darka, or however you say her name. I'm just gonna call her Abracadabra, since she thinks she can magically eliminate whole constitutional amendments. If you ask me, the person that needs to be in jail is the judge. Imagine a judge in the First Amendment.
Yes, 100%. The judge has to follow the Constitution. They swore an oath to uphold the Constitution. She needs disbarred. And hopefully this guy can turn around and sue the people that broke his house. Because breaking the door, and they caused all kinds of destruction, I'm sure, when they raided his house. And he should file a suit against the state.
Amendment case saying, don't bring the First Amendment into this courtroom. It doesn't exist here. People would lose their mind. Yet a judge says these exact words about the Second Amendment, and no one says anything. What's truly pathetic and disheartening is that actual criminals in New York treat the legal system like a revolving door.
We're arresting the same people over and over again. We identified 716 people who were responsible for 30% of the shooting incidents last year. And frustratingly, we see many of them get arrested, released, arrested.
Shooting incidents where they're harming and killing other people, and they turn around and get right out of jail. I can't believe I'm even seeing this.
released.
So Lil Junebug can go out and shoot at his ops and then be back on the streets the next day. But when a 52-year-old software engineer makes guns in his home from legal parts as a hobby, they try to throw him in jail for 10 to 18 years. What's crazy is that on a federal level, making your own gun is legal. People have been making their own guns for hundreds of years. The Gun Control Act of 1968 allows an unlicensed individual, a regular civilian that doesn't hold a federal firearms license or FFL, to make a non-NFA firearm for personal use, but not for sale or distribution. Taylor was not selling these guns. For crying out loud, he never even shot them. But when Lil AstroTurk goes and actually shoots someone, they treat him like a fucking folk hero. Hell, they do it on social media. If my black ass makes a video about responsible gun ownership, I get shadow banned. But a group of underage kids waving around Glocks with switches on it, talking about shooting at their ops, viral. And then we wonder why there's so much violence in certain communities. You glorify the shit and vilify responsible gun owners. You have more contempt for legal gun owners who are contributing members to society than you do degenerates actually killing people. What kind of message do you think that sends to young people? Be a law-abiding, productive member of society and go to jail, or be a degenerate up and walk the streets with immunity. This is why I say gun control is not about saving lives, it's about control. They need the chaos of violence to justify their continued push for gun control because they can't sell you gun control if there is no gun violence. So they passively, if not actively, facilitate the gun violence in certain areas, then use those stats to scare suburban housewives into voting for more gun control, and then make an example out of any law-abiding gun owner who dare assert their rights under the Second Amendment, which is why this judge had the unmitigated gall to fix her mouth to say, do not bring the Second Amendment into this courtroom. It doesn't exist here. Like, what the f? That is the language of a tyrant, not a judge. Saying shit like that should have you tried for treason. But that is where we are in this country, a country where a judge in a state can unilaterally eliminate a constitutional right. Thankfully, we have a legal system where you can appeal your case to higher courts and overturn unconstitutional decisions. But doing this isn't cheap, which is why I put a link to Dexter Taylor's two-way legal.
Yeah, this is truly disturbing. Like, they upheld an oath. They have to uphold an oath. The judges have to abide by the Constitution. This is just one more reason that New York it's proof that they're unconstitutional. Also, what they're doing with President Trump, it's ridiculous. These gun-toting thugs are out here shooting people and not going to jail, and then they're after our legal guns. Like, it's crazy to me.
Fund in the description section of this video. Now, keep in mind, this isn't just about Dexter Taylor. This is about all of our rights under the Second Amendment, because if this case can get to the Supreme Court, not only will this overturn Taylor's conviction, it will set a new legal precedent, thus making it extremely hard for states like New York and judges like Abracadabra, or whatever her name is, from prosecuting law-abiding citizens for exercising their constitutional rights. Guns aren't political. That's why I need your help getting this message to spread on YouTube by clicking the thumbs up button, leaving a comment to let me know what you think of the video, then subscribing to the channel.
Let's go, Brandon. I love your shirt, bro. Yeah, this is just... The people of New York need to start standing up to these judges, and you got to contact your senators and your congressmen and let them know that this is not okay. This is ridiculous. They're trying to completely snuff out our Second Amendment right. Any gun law is a violation against the Second Amendment. Shall not be infringed. These judges and these idiots in New York need to look up the definition of shall not be infringed. That's today's video, guys. If you like it, like it. If you like it a lot, subscribe. More high-speed news to come. Thanks.